What's he going on about? It's hybrid. I
Well, no,
don't
no.
know.
I think we hear you, but I think the first time it's now cheaper to run an electric car than a petrol one, thanks to a price war between charging networks. BEV, owned by Octopus Energy, has slashed its rates to 39 pence per kilowatt hour, undercutting rivals like Ionity and Tesla.
It's always been cheaper to run an electric car than a petrol car, and any basic research will tell you that charging at home at 8p a kilowatt hour using Octopus Energy at night and Tesla superchargers, and they've been around the 39p a kilowatt hour price mark for years, it's also cheaper at times. Tesla are also the cheapest public chargers, and Ionity are one of the most expensive. So comparing them together is crazy and quite unfair. So you have to ask yourself where this news is coming from, and it's Times Radio, owned by Richard Murdoch, who owns the giant news corporation, Sun, Fox News, etc., etc. So say no more.
Competition is revving up ahead of the 2030 electric switch. Richard Hammond knows a thing or two about cars, and he joins us now. Good morning.
Hello, thanks for joining me today. We'll get to the hamster Hammond in a moment, but first, if you can consider subscribing, it's free, and a like would be great if you did.
Morning.
Do you think this is going to be enough to make people finally switch to electric vehicles for good?
I love this idea of switch as though everybody could or would. It's not that binary or polarizing issue, which is the way it's constantly sold to us. It's not, and it can't be actually. To get one thing straight, the transport infrastructure has to decarbonize. Totally see that. Nobody's denying it. The internal combustion engine never damaged anything. It was the fuel.
That's pretty interesting. The internal combustion engine never damaged anything. It was the fuel. That's quite a dumb comment because the internal combustion engine needs the fuel to make it run. A man may be thought a fool, but if he opens his mouth, he removes all doubt.
Electric cars, battery electric cars are one of the solutions potentially to that. One of them. And very, very effective in some applications. I drove the new Renault 5 recently and loved it. I thought it was a superb little car. And it also captured that emotive element of a car, the connective bit, the bit where we grow to love a machine simply because it enables us to live our lives by taking us where we need to go, whether it's to school, the shops, work, to meet friends, whatever. It did all of that. But it wouldn't fit into everybody's life. I actually looked at it and compared it to looking at a child's bicycle in the shop window and thinking, oh, I wish I was 8 and that was waiting under the Christmas tree for me. My life would be complete if it fitted my life. But obviously a child's bicycle wouldn't work for me in my life now. I'm 55. An electric car wouldn't work in my particular life, but in other applications it would.
I'm wondering if this child's bike idea has been workshopped, comparing an electric car to a child's bike, suggesting that only a petrol car is for adults, a real man, and EVs are just for children. Well, it's a nonsense thing to say, quite ridiculous.
We keep getting these polarizing ideas and theories that, right, we've all got to switch to battery. Can I just put it quite straight? We can't.
No one's being forced to buy an EV. Petrol cars are going to be around for a long, long time, sadly.
Battery energy density is the big problem. It's a different process to a fuel that's consumed. It needs solid matter to work. Batteries are and always shall be heavy.
Batteries are reducing in weight as the technology improves. There's a great company on YouTube that turns classic cars into electric cars. They're called Electric Classic Cars. It's a great channel to watch and I highly recommend it if, like me, you love classic cars and electric cars.
Whoa! Bloody hell. Who would be crazy enough to put 300 horsepower in a little thing like this? Well, that would be me. I'm Richard from Electric Classic Cars, and in this week's episode, sponsored by Mouser Electronics, it's all about this beautiful 1966 Tesla-powered Mini.
In most cases, the electrified battery car is not heavier than the combustion engine they converted it from.
Mazda are working on an incredibly efficient combustion engine, a rotary engine, to work in a hybrid configuration.
He spoke about how heavy EVs are. Now that's heavy and expensive, a hybrid. But the legacy car makers have to cling on to something, otherwise they're being left behind by those leading the way, building quiet, efficient, clean and reasonably priced electric vehicles.
What's he going on about? But I don't
Well, no,
know.
I think we hear you, but I think
the point.
love talking about electric cars. For the people it works for, they are absolutely into them. They love them. They're never going to switch back. But for the people who want to drive up the motorway for 6 hours on a weekend to go and see family, it doesn't work at the moment.
So their viewers love their electric cars. They're never going to switch back. But for people that want to drive 6 hours up the motorway to see the family, it doesn't work. Well, that's absolute nonsense, and one of the biggest fallacies surrounding EVs. I regularly drive from Cornwall to the top of Scotland. Last month I drove from Aberdeen to Heathrow to Cornwall to Preston, Cardiff, Heathrow and back again to Aberdeen. I stopped to stretch my legs whenever I wanted to and get a coffee, and when I did, I charged the car. It didn't take any longer for me to travel thousands of miles than it would have done in a petrol car. I never had range anxiety, and the touchscreen showed me exactly where the next supercharger was. There was a time when the next supercharger was 3 hours away and I didn't want to wait that long. I wanted a coffee, so I went to a closer supercharger. And I'm certainly not sitting around waiting for the car to charge. Often they're only 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. I'm not waiting at all. And if I get a meal with Jennifer, the car is charged long before I finish the meal.
At the moment, it doesn't work for lots of different reasons.
It's just not true. It doesn't work for a lot of different reasons. People all over the country were shouting at the TV. Hammond is anti-EV, and a balanced opinion, someone who may be like me or millions of them in this country who drive EVs, would have given the view that what they were saying was nonsense. And that's why I'm challenging it today, because people watch this and think it's a fact. You can't drive for 6 hours up the motorway in an EV. Absolute nonsense. And besides, who wants to drive for 6 hours? Really? Have you ever tried that with a family? If you're going on a 6-hour journey, you will certainly have a couple of stops in a petrol car. Surely, why would you not?
Engineering will come up with other solutions. They're already there. Hydrogen combustion, hydrogen fuel cells, those are suitable for different applications.
So engineering will come up with other solutions. In fact, they're already there with hydrogen combustion. If they're already there, why are they not selling hydrogen cars? And why are there not filling stations all over the place?
Synthetic fuel, if we use renewable energy to bank hydrogen, as opposed to putting it in a giant battery, when it's not being used, we turn it into hydrogen. The Mazda car that they're looking at, it's only a concept car at this stage, will use fuel, which could be synthetically made. It's hydrogen and carbon, a hydrocarbon, without digging any oil up. We can capture carbon to do that. It will capture its own CO2 emissions at the tailpipe, put them into a canister. It can then be reused and combined with renewably generated hydrogen as a means of banking renewable energy to create a hydrocarbon. It's a perfect circle.
CO2 emissions at the tailpipe, put them in a canister, then reuse. It's a perfect circle. That's all great, except it doesn't exist. If you want to start reducing CO2 emissions, who's going to wait 10 years for the Mazda concept hydrocarbon car to be developed, if it ever is?
My advice to all of us would be to be good and conscientious consumers, because that's our job.
Meanwhile, there are 60 million electric vehicles in the world and increasing by 20 million a year.
Our car is one of the biggest contributors potentially to the whole of the climate problem that we as individuals will make, and we need to think responsibly about it. But to think responsibly about it, we need to be informed. We need to understand these things, and we don't.
Of course we need to think responsibly, but I'm not sure what millionaire motoring journalist Richard Hammond doesn't understand about electric cars. Does he think we're all as dumb as him? He's got a great collection of cars, Jaguars, XK150, Porsche, Mustangs, Lamborghinis, but we're not all as lucky as him. Most of us struggle to afford just one car. I did. I drove petrol and diesel cars for 50 years, and for the last 4 years I've driven my EV, a Tesla Model 3, all over England, Scotland, Wales and Portugal, and I'm never going back to petrol. Never. Just like me, millions of people drive EVs and have a better experience than a petrol or diesel car. They're cheaper, quieter, overall a much better driving experience. Manufacturers are now making EV cars the same price as new petrol equivalents, and there are many EVs for sale under 20,000. And between 20 and 30,000 there are lots of them and dozens of manufacturers. You can buy a used Tesla with a 250-mile range for £10,000 or a used Tesla Model S with free supercharging for life. Anyone with an EV can now use a Tesla superchargers if they sign up. There's just so much misinformation out there, and if you're thinking of buying an EV, talk to someone who owns one, and definitely not a motoring journalist who are paid to slag off electric vehicles and promote petrol, diesel and hybrids by their bosses. And if you're thinking of buying a Tesla, please use my link down below and you'll get a bonus. That's in any country. Thank you very much for getting this far. Please consider subscribing, it's free, and a like would be appreciated if you did. Drive safely, don't forget to use your reusable coffee mug wherever you go, and bye for now. Cheers.